Okay, so today we are having exercise 13, which is oblique drawing. Now, last time we explained what the orthographic drawing, if you remember. So drawing the model in multi-views. So we have a front, a top, a bottom, side view, back view. So from all the views, we draw it in this way. Now, oblique drawings, and next class we're going to explain isometric drawings. So there are several types of this type of drawing that in design usually accompany the orthographic drawing. So for example, if you make a new design, you need to draw it as orthographic to show all its details from all the sides, as well as the measurements and the scale. But sometimes this type of drawing is not enough for someone to imagine this object in 3D. So for example, I look at this, okay, I see all the sides, great. If it's a simple object, I can imagine what it looks like. But if you have a complicated object and you have just the orthographic, it's a little difficult for someone to look at it and immediately understand it. So these type of drawings come in addition to this drawing. So you usually have in design orthographic drawing plus, let's say, oblique drawing or isometric drawing or a drawing that shows you this object as a 3D. But the difference between these type of drawings, oblique, isometric, and the ones that we're going to discuss in the next classes, the difference between these and the perspective drawings that we used to draw before, the perspective drawing also looks 3D. 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, they look 3D, but they are not accurate. These drawings are drawn according the measurements, and they have a scale. So for example, when you have an oblique drawing, you must have a scale, and the measurements are according the orthographic drawing. So what you have here, you put here. What you have here, you put here. Now, we will start with a very simple object, just a cube. Let's say we have a 10 by 10 centimeter cube, and we want to draw it in oblique view. Now, oblique views have actually 3 types we have. Usually, as I said in design, one is chosen, one type, one oblique or one isometric, or that can accompany the orthographic drawing. But in this class, we will look at all the types. We will practice to understand all the types. In the future, whatever the teacher select, draw this, draw that, you have to know what it is, okay? So, we will use, to start off with, a cube, 10 by 10 centimeter, 10 by 10 by 10 cube, okay? And we will draw it in oblique view, the 30-degree oblique view, the 45 and the 60, and explain all its rules. Now, the axis in oblique views, all of the oblique views, axes are drawn 2 axes. So this is an axe, and this is here an axe. Okay, so this and this is always drawn perpendicular to each other at 90 degrees. The third receding axe, so for example, this face, you start off with it. If it's 10 centimeter, scale 1 to 1, you draw it 10 by 10, okay? The receding axe that go backwards, okay? This is the difference here. It can be at 30 degrees, at 45, or at 60. So, so we will start with a face. Now, usually what we start off with, if you have an orthographic drawing, you will choose the front view to start with it, okay? So if this is the front view, you draw that first, okay? Now, let us do with the cube to understand the method, and then we will see with combination of cubes how it will work. So, we need to use the rulers, okay? So this is here the ruler 90, 45, 45, and this is 90, 60, 30 degree, okay? So if I ask, okay, draw me a cube 10 by 10 by 10 centimeter, scale 1 to 1, What is scale 1 to 1? Mean the real scale. So if it's 10 centimeter cube, you draw it on the paper 10. We explained scale last class. If I have scale 1 to 2, it means half. 1 to 5, it means 10 divided by 5, and so on, okay? But we need it scale 1 to 1. Okay. This is at a 30 degree. So we will take the ruler, which have the 30 degree. From here or from here you can draw it. Okay. So if you want to draw the 30 degree, actually it can be drawn, the receding axis can be drawn from here or from here. It's all correct. But usually it's done from that side. Okay? So 30 degree. So, you need to understand something about, let me just draw this side and then I will explain. Okay. You need to understand something about the oblique drawings, all of them, okay? Now, when you draw the receding axis, this one and this one, okay? This now, if it's a 10 by 10 by 10 centimeter cube, this must be, on scale 1 to 1, or this must be also 10. Okay? So you measure here with a ruler 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you stop. Okay? So 10 by 10 by 10. This is not perspective. What happens in perspective? That when we have a receding axis, it becomes shorter as we go to the vanishing point. Here we don't have vanishing point. No vanishing point. So when we have a measurement, we put the measurement according to the scale. So 10 centimeter, 1 by 1 scale, this must be 10. From here to here must be also 10. So, for example, here 10, 10, okay? So this line from here to here must also be 10. And this line from here to here must also be 10. So if I measure this, it's 10. This is 10, this is 10, 10, 10, 10, okay? So the real measurements you put here, not the receding. So there is no vanishing point. And notice, this line with this line with this line, they are parallel. What is parallel? Parallel to each other. You see, these are parallel lines. In perspective, when we used to have, we have lines that go towards a vanishing point, okay? This is not perspective. These are parallel lines. Here, the measurements become smaller and smaller and smaller as you go to the vanishing point, but we don't have this here. The oblique drawing is a technical drawing. Any technical drawing, it has accurate measurements, accurate angles. So this is here a 30-degree angle. These are accurate measurements according to what is given to you and what is the scale. And the lines are parallel, okay, to each other. This is very important to understand, because these are the rules of how to draw it correctly. Now, we will draw a cube at what? 45 degree. 45 degree ruler. Now you need to use your T-square. Be careful. I'm drawing it on the board a little freehand, but you need to have your T-square, the ruler here, like this. Okay? When you draw the line, the first line, then you move the whole object up. You draw the second line, you move it that way and this way to draw the rest of the lines. If you don't use this T-square and you just put this ruler here and then you move it up here, this line that you draw may not be parallel to this line. You might make a mistake. You need to use your T-square to have it correct. If you ignore this fact, I will know, according to your drawings. So, this is the 45-degree oblique drawing. Again, all the receding lines are parallel to each other, and we need to put them 10 centimeter because it's a 10 by 10 by 10 cube. So you measure 10, 10 here, okay? This is at 30, rotated, this is at 45. Now we have at 60. The same thing, but this one will be 60. So where is the ruler? This is the 30, this is the 60, okay? So you will put the ruler exactly on this line, the ground line, and you will draw the rest. With the T-square, you move up, and you draw the rest of the lines. Now, these lines again must be parallel, and from here to here, because it's a 10 by 10 cube, you need to measure here 10, put a line up, so any line that I measure here, because it's a 10 by 10 cube, must be 10, 10, 10, everything, okay? And scale 1 to 1. Just this angle is different. So this is here a 60-degree angle. Now, as you can see, the oblique drawing, it starts with the face, okay? And the first two axes are perpendicular to each other. So you're basically copying what? The front view of the orthographic drawing. The front view will be copied here. And then you have a receding axis that shows it in 3D, but according to a certain degree. So maybe the teacher will ask me, draw your orthographic drawing in oblique 30 degree. So you know, okay. After I finish the orthographic, I now need to draw it in oblique with 30 degree, or with 45, or with 60, okay? Next class, we will also talk about other type of drawings, isometric, then axonometric drawings. All of these are types that show an orthographic multi-view drawing in 3D. How it looks like in 3D, so that people can imagine it better. Now, if we take, for example, a combination of cubes, okay? So this is here, for example, a 10 by 10 cube, and this is here a 5 by 5 cube, for example, okay? Your cubes are different, okay? So we have a 10 by 10 cube. I will draw it here as example using one of these methods. So we have a cube which is 10 by 10, and a smaller cube which is 5 by 5. And we shall use scale, for example, 1 to 2. For example, if you have this kind of question. So scale 1 to 2 means this cube will become what? 5. And this cube will become 2.5. So the scale very important, because the real object have measurements, but the scale to the drawing, how much to put it on the paper. Like the orthographic, you did it what, scale 1 to 5? So 5 times smaller. This drawing might be different than the orthographic. I might ask you draw it scale 1 to 1 or scale 1 to 2. It doesn't have to be the same scale like in the orthographic, okay? Okay, so scale 1 to 2. So we have this combination of cubes that we want to draw. Let me just check. Is it visible here? Okay. Okay. So, now it depends in your orthographic drawing, which of these sides did you choose as the front view? So, for example, if this is the front, this is what we will start with. Okay? This is what we will start the oblique drawing with. So, if this is the front, we will copy it here according to the scale. So, we have here what? The 5 by 5 and 2.5 by 2.5. So, I'm drawing this, if this is my front view in the orthographic drawing, okay? So, according to the scale, this should be 5 by 5 centimeter. And we have two small cubes at the sides, each one 2.5 So the first two axes are perpendicular to each other as a front view, like in the orthographic. Okay. Now we have one receding axis. So this depends on which type we are using. Now, why do we have all these types? Because sometimes the object looks better or shows more details at 60, sometimes at 45. Look, when you notice the 60 degree, this side you cannot see it very well. 45, it is more open from this side. 30 degrees more open. So if you want to show more detail from this side, you draw it with a less angle. Okay? So if we choose the 45, for example, the middle one. So this object at 45. This is the 45 degree. Okay? So we will put here with the T-square, the ruler. And we will take the T-square, move it up to draw all the other lines to make sure they are parallel. First we draw the lines and then we put the measurements. Then we measure how much they should be. Now, from each corner, you will take a line out, okay? And you will measure. Now we have the small cube. This is 2.5 by 2.5. So from here to here must be 2.5 because it's a cube, okay? So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. And notice all the lines are parallel to each other. All of them are at 45 degrees. So from here to here, 2.5. Now, from here to here also you need 2.5, okay? Now, this big cube is 5 centimeter, okay? But on 5 centimeter on the drawing, it's really 10, but on the drawing it's 5. So from here to here, 5. So from here to here and here to here, we need to measure 5, okay? And so if this is 5 here, 5, 5, 5. And this is here a 45 degree oblique drawing. So it is drawn correctly according measurement and according scale. You cannot draw an oblique drawing without knowing the measurements or the scale and without having an orthographic drawing. So this is number one. First must be finished. Then you take the front view, you draw it, whatever it's here, and then the receding angle at whatever is given to you, at 45, at 30, at 60, and so on. And you measure everything correctly. There is no vanishing point, I remind you, okay? So, if this is a 2 by 2, if this is a 2 by 2, 2.5 by 2.5 cube, so this is also 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. This here is 5, 5, 5, okay? Everything is accurate. This is part of the technical drawing. Any drawing that is technical, okay, you need to have measurements and scale. So this is just a drawing that help you visualize an orthographic drawing. So this object, what does it look like really in 3D? You draw it as oblique. This helps you understand it a little more, okay? So this is the reason why we have these oblique drawings. Next class, we will also explain isometric, the class after axonometric. These are all pictorial, I would say. This is a pictorial drawing that shows you an orthographic multi-view drawing as a 3D. Okay, I believe this is clear. I repeat it many times in different ways. Okay, now, in your model, what do you have? You have 3 types of cubes, okay? You have 15 by 15, 10 by 10, and 5 by 5 cube in your model, okay? So, you need to draw your model in what? In oblique. So what is the homework? The first one, you will draw one sheet, 3 cubes like this, to practice. Each cube 10 by 10 centimeter, scale 1 to 1. You will draw like what I did here, on one sheet. At 30, at 45, at 60, to get the hang of it, okay? You can draw all these cubes on one line. So we have one line, you can have here a cube, here a cube, here a cube, and draw them as in one line, or with 3 separate lines. So this is correct, and this is correct. After you finish with this drawing, you have to draw your model. So if this is, for example, your model, for example, you have to draw it 3 times on 3 separate sheets, okay? So 3 times on 3 separate sheets. The first time you will draw it at 30 degree, then at 45, and then at 60. So you will have 4 drawings for this example. Of course, the same object, your object.
But different...
But at different angles, okay?
Can we draw the first sheet like this, not like this?
The cubes.
Not like this.
Now, if you draw them in this way with 3 ground lines, you can draw it as vertical. But the horizontal, if you want to draw one line with 3 cubes here, then you can draw it horizontal. So you choose. It's okay, this way and this way. As long as you have a border, everything is clean and correct, okay? Now your model, it is advisable to have it as horizontal, the sheet, okay? So like this to draw. Because you have here a lot of things going on, so to have enough space, draw it here. Now be careful, something. The cubes, which is 10 by 10 by 10 centimeter, will be drawn scale 1 to 1. So 10 is 10 on the paper, but the model, scale 1 to 2. Now be careful. This orthographic drawing is scale 1 to 5. Okay? So when I say scale 1 to 2, it means that on the paper, this cube will become 7.5. The 15 will become 7.5. The 10, 5, and the 5, 2.5. So when you draw the oblique drawing, it will be a little bigger than the orthographic, but it is in correct scale. Okay? So this is it, basically, what you need to do. 4 sheets for this exercise. Any questions? In the real design world, you will have always an orthographic drawing plus one of those pictorials. One. You will not draw it 3 times or using multiple. You will have one. For example, only this, or only this, or only this, or only the ones that we will take next class, the isometric, the axonometric, okay? So it's only one pictorial usually chosen with the orthographic to show it as a 3D so people can imagine it better when they look at it. This is the reason why we have these drawings. Any questions? Anything not clear? Anyone? No? Okay, great. So this is it.